4, 3, 2,
1.
Good evening and welcome to the Waterbucker Podcast. Good evening, John. How are you?
I'm in shock at how good you are at the whole American DJ thing, Cliff.
I was born to do that.
You were. That's what you're going to be in your 60s and 70s. What happened to Cliff Ward? Hey, it's Cliff Ward here, Wheels of Steel.
He's on WRFN 74.
See?
Yeah, that's it.
A natural.
Playing John Denver 24/7.
Cue music.
The intro.
Yeah, bit of John Denver.
Oh, did you want me to play John Denver there or our intro music?
Our intro. Maybe we could record a John Denver tune.
See, I don't think you know this about me, John, but my secret backup plan is to, you're obviously going to get invited, is to form a John Denver tribute band and tour it. So,
Only in America?
No, in the UK.
Why in the UK?
I'm not going to America.
Oh. Okay.
I'm going to do it here.
That's the American tour cancelled.
I've almost got the John Denver hair. I just need to change my glasses a bit, and I'm there. I'm done.
Is it really bad that I have no idea one song of John Denver?
Oh my goodness! Leaving on a jet plane.
Oh yeah. I've heard of that one. Yeah.
I've got some vinyl I can lend you if you like.
Have you really? I can't tell if you're taking the mic.
I've got John Denver vinyl, yeah. Wow. Quite a few, I think.
This should be called the John Denver Podcast.
Well, it's the first time he's been brought up. I'm going to have to put it in the Spotify playlist now, aren't I?
Absolutely. Is he still alive?
No, he died in a jet plane, John.
Did he? How did he release that song?
That was before.
Did they find like a mini disc on him or something? And they went, ah.
It was an accident. We used to fly planes, yeah. And then he crashed his own plane and died. It's very sad. He was very loved.
Yeah.
So Leaving on a Jet Plane, that's the first one on the podcast playlist. Brilliant.
Man, that's crazy, isn't it? You write a song about leaving on a jet plane and that's exactly what you do.
I know. It's very sad.
Yeah. I respect it.
I know.
So how are you?
I'm okay, yeah. I think I'm better than I was the last time we did the podcast. I was really, really tired. And I'm feeling a bit better today. It's very hot in my studio. And we've just had a massive rainstorm. So that's quite cool. So it's very humid.
Yes.
But I love this time. I love it. You go outside and it's just rained horrendously and it's the smell and it's really good.
I went running on the canal and we had a huge hailstorm here, which I couldn't run in because it was proper big.
It was going to hurt you.
Oh yeah. There's no way I could run in that. So I waited until that went and then it torrentially rained and I thought, this is my time. So I'm trying to get back into my running and
well done.
Mother Nature is providing me with my favourite running conditions. So I have no excuses. So
what rain? You like rain?
Storms.
Rain.
Storms. If it's stormy, my trainers start coming towards my feet and saying, "Come on."
That's good.
So, yeah.
Usually it's the getting out of the door. You know, if it is raining and you've said that's when I'm going to go. Usually that's when people normally say, "Oh, but it's raining." No. But once you get out in it, it's actually awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think because I've had better experience running in the rain and just really rubbish experiences of getting it wrong in the soaring heat. So,
that's the worst is when it's really hot.
Yes, and I've got no one to rescue me. So if I get it wrong when it's hot, I'm crawling home on my own with my tail between my legs. Which has not been good. But so all is good. We had, we were on, where were we? We were on BBC Radio Cambridge. No, BBC Cambridge, weren't we on?
BBC Radio Cambridge.
Yesterday.
That was yesterday.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was hilarious. It was like 15 minutes of sheer hilarity.
It was.
I hope so. She certainly seemed to enjoy every second of that. What was her name? Thordis. Thordis.
Yeah.
My apologies. Yes, she was great. She just took us straight in there and we were away. Yeah. Great fun.
I think Nikki, Nikki
Stockman.
Yeah, she's co-presenter with Sue. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, for the folk show.
Yeah,
which then preceded our interview.
Oh, okay. Well,
we were kind of like the lead in to the folk show, which was quite nice.
What a lead in! It's like when we open gigs at folk clubs, and you can see after we've played the first song, the rest of the acts are going, "Oh Christ."
What?
We were loud.
What just happened?
Yeah. What's going on?
Yeah, and the organisers probably going, "Oh, that's not going to work well, is it?"
No. Well done, Warden Parker. Now a solo bagpipe piece.
What was your favourite one? Was it a medieval harpist?
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Honestly, I mean, both of us are quite seasoned musicians, and I've seen and experienced some quite unbelievable things. Like played to big audiences, all the kind of talking points. But it isn't until the folk scene that really it just gets really surreal at points, and you're going, "This is happening." And you'll drive home, and you'll get home and get up the next morning and go, Did I do lots of drugs last night? Did a woman dressed in medieval, and she was amazing. She was totally serious. It wasn't. She didn't get up and she wasn't awkward about it. She was like,
no,
owning the character.
Absolutely, no, she was brilliant.
Yeah.
She was really informative. She gave us a lot of history between the pieces.
Yeah,
and it was very good. But it was just weird next to us.
Yes,
pop folk kind of thing that we do.
Yeah,
it was an eclectic evening.
It was like she was like an elegant. That's going to sound really wrong. I was going to say we're basically like two very excitable on heat puppies, and then I was going to describe her as kind of an elegant dog, but that just sounds really bad.
That's not right. No.
That's not right. That's not right. And I didn't mean it offensively at all.
I think you went the wrong way with that. delete, backstep, rewind.
Yeah, that's me being heckled at all my gigs now.
Yeah,
this year, which is absolutely fine because I've got none.
Don't cry.
I won't at all.
Good.
But no, it's BBC Cambridge and Sue Marchant and Nikki have just been such a support to us. You know, like
they have absolutely. They'll have us on any time. They're very supportive.
Yeah, and Sue is great. Like Cambridge Folk Festival and Ely Folk Festival, she's always there chatting to people, getting you on the radio. She's a tour de force. She is a tour de force. Exactly. Yeah.
Nikki came and interviewed us at what festival was it? Towersey.
Yeah.
Was it Towersey? Yeah. That was great. We've had a lot of fun with those guys. It's lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and there's quite a lot of banter, I noticed on the Facebook.
What did she say?
Facebook
what did she
Messenger.
Say about us before that interview? She said we were the jam in the folk sandwich or something.
Yes.
What did she say?
It threw me because Thordis then decided to start the interview about the sandwich thing and like what fillings we had, and all I could think of was the peanut butter that I actually had in my hand at that time.
Yes. And Nikki did email us and say, "Thank goodness it wasn't chocolate spread."
Yeah. Thus, yes. Yes. Anyway,
it's gone to another level.
It has, but it's been quite weirdly. We're recording the podcast quite regularly for us, and I was a bit concerned this evening. I thought we've got nothing to talk about, but in fact, we've actually been really busy. So
we have been busy, so that's really good.
We have.
Yeah, we've had plenty going on. We've been getting more recording done.
Yeah, we have.
So we've decided that we think it might be quite nice to put a few little clips of our current work into the podcast. So we've been working on a few new songs. So first of all, we've been working quite a lot on a song called 1,000 Seas. I think we mentioned this last time. And this is like nearly finished now. It just needs a few little tweaks here and there. So we're gonna play you a little bit of that. So should we do that right now? Here is a little bit of 1,000 Seas demo. Go.
miles to bring you in. 1,000 seas to swim across, my body can't allow. Turn the tide, I wish I could. The clock has stopped, no going back. I taste the past, it sickens me. To turn back time and solve the crowd. 1,000 seas to swim across. I'll build a boat to cast me out. How did we come to this? We shouldn't have known.
So there you go. There's a bit of 1,000 Seas. I hope you like it. Yeah, we're planning on putting more strings on, and I think, John, are you going to do some singing on this as well? I think you should.
Well, the good thing is I get to do singing on my own without anyone hearing me, and then I can do billions of takes and edit.
You're so shy
syllable
about
by
singing.
syllable.
You're so shy about singing. And then you sing, and then loads of people after the gig, I love hearing your singing, John.
Yeah, but my family can't be at all my gigs. And most of my family are profoundly deaf, so. But yes.
That's brilliant.
But also, not only are we doing songs like Hummingbird and 1,000 Seas, but there are new songs.
No. Yes, there are.
Songs.
There are. Yeah, so there's, I can't remember now. What was the other one? What was, I've sent you 2 in the last sort of week.
Yeah.
New demos.
And you played me something last night.
Yeah, I did. So that's my latest one. And that I think is going to be called It's a Trap, I think. And it's about mobile phones and the fact that we're all glued to them all the time and that they're a trap. They're a trap to stop us doing anything productive. But I mean, we're obviously all using our phones a hell of a lot at the moment during lockdown. So it's kind of, I should think everyone's finding all that stuff a big blessing at the moment. But it's it is, you know, all these clicks and things like that. You know, they're all buying our time and selling it back to us. It's a dangerous game.
It is. I found that the beginning of the lockdown, I'm pretty sure everybody's had this. It was just like, oh, amazing! I can call like people I've not spoken to for ages, and we'd have an hour-long conversation, have a cup of tea in the garden. It was sunny. It was like this lockdown, thumbs up. A month into the lockdown, people stopped calling. And 2 months into the lockdown, my phone is off.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to anybody. And then you'll call someone, you have to call them 20 times in order for them to call back. And me, as I'm terrible. Like I've just stopped calling people back.
John Parker.
Yeah.
How do you run a business?
Well, no one's offering me work.
Oh no, they just want to have a chat.
Yeah, they want to catch up. How are you doing? We've been married.
Going, man?
Yeah. I don't know. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's one of my new songs. Yes. Yeah, we can play a bit of that too. Have you done some bass on this, John?
No.
Okay. Do you want to do that now and then we'll play it, or should we just play it without you on it?
Play it without me on it, and then people can realise it's much better.
Yeah. Okay. So we can have this is without bass, and then here it is with bass,
and then next podcast with bass, and then
okay. So this is without any. This really is just me bashing it out and sending it to John, so he can listen to it and work something interesting out over it, make it good.
Or ignore it until I get the 19th revision and then listen to that one.
Yeah. Okay, here we go.
taking my views away from me. It's my time, it's my life, maybe. Take my views away from me. It's my time, it's my life, baby. Think it's good, but it's not good enough. Think it's good, it's not good enough. Think it's good, it's not good enough. Think it's good, it's not good enough. Get off your phone, you need a boat. Get your bread or rest away. Get off your phone, you need a boat. Get your bread or rest away.
So there you go. So I hope you like that. That's our new a new demo there. I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a bit different for us. I'm hoping for a lot of space musically, sort of some good dynamic range at the beginning, and something a little bit Radioheady about that. I think.
Yeah,
So it's quite cool. This leads nicely into what I was hoping to talk about with you, and that is product and selling music. And obviously that there's not a lot of that these days.
No.
There's a lot of obviously the easiest way for everyone now is streaming, and we have to live with that. It's just that is the future, man, and it's so easy and accessible, and we will just pay our £10 a month and get all the music ever, which is unbelievable. But I think there still is a huge market for physical, and we are both, as you may know, we're both massive vinyl heads.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be our dream format, wouldn't it, John? I'd love the first everything on vinyl would be lovely, but it's so expensive.
Yeah, and heavyweight vinyl. Like I think the thing is, it's such a package, isn't it? Like the artwork. You know, you can have the mix. Who's mixed it, produced it, played.
That's a massive deal, actually. Having the sleeve notes in the CD was always such a massive thing, and I've hear artist after artist who being interviewed saying, "I used to read through all the sleeve notes, find out who was the producer, who was this," and now there is no way of getting that information really, unless you really have to search it out.
Yeah,
it isn't on Spotify or iTunes. Although I have heard on another music podcast, I can't remember the name. It's called "The Future of What." I think that's what it's called. Check it out. It's an American podcast, and one of the episodes, she was saying that in the next year they're planning to roll out more of this information. It's going to happen. So down to the, like with actors and IMDb, and you know how you can be watching a film on Netflix and then it will show you who's in the film, and then you can click on the actor and it'll tell you what other films they've been in. Well, apparently that is going to come to music. So you'll be able to look at the album and see who produced it, click on the producer, and then see all the records they produced. And the same for like the guitarist in the band. I mean, wouldn't it be fascinating to find out who the guitarist was for like Beyonce, and then what other tracks she was on or they were on? I think that would be fantastic. And really useful. And
if it can work on a micro level as well, because I think as a session musician, sometimes you are losing work. Definitely, you'll play your heart out on a record and it'll sound great. Are people really going to spend the time? It's really hard. Like if you've been on a Ben Walker record or something, how are people supposed to know unless you buy the physical or ask Ben yourself?
No one's going to know. No one's going to even think about it. So, I mean, for you've been on hundreds of albums. So if this came along, you know, you're suddenly going to have all that there online.
Absolutely.
It'll be fantastic.
Yeah. God, and then I might have to register like what tracks I've been on.
I think you might have to do that. Yeah, it might have to be in your on PRS or whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm rubbish with that sort of thing.
I know you are. I know you are. I'm like, have you seen? We made £6 last month, and you'll go, what?
£6?
Wow, that's nearly 2 pints
of what? Where are you drinking?
water.
Water.
in Leamington.
Yeah, spa water.
Spa water.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go on.
No, I was just thinking about formats, and I was thinking in Leamington we had a little village hall, and there was a band called Reef who did the Sony mini disc advert. What was that song?
Oh, Place Your Hands.
Yeah. I think that was it. Yeah, and it was used on, and it was funny going from CD. It's suddenly this kind of new format of mini disc. It's going to change everything. But what it did change was I've still got the mini disc recorder. And for my old band, Nisloppy, I've got boxes of mini discs of songs. We used to use it all the time. It was amazing for documenting things because it was so portable. Yeah. And obviously it goes on I constantly got my hand in this shape, but it goes in a very small,
this big.
Just in case.
I've still got a mini disc player. I've got a mini disc recorder. It's just like a little square. Yeah, I did use it for about 10 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I used it all the time. And every now and again, I still record my scales on it. Because it's great, because it's an instant, then listen straight back. It's
a bit like cassette was when you had your old... I used to use tape recorders all the time. I mean, me and my sister loved messing around with tape recorders. We used to do fake radio shows. I used to make mixes. I even managed to... actually do some kind of DJ mixing with 2 tape recorders once. And I had one like dance track playing, and then I used another tape and managed to sync it up and record the 2 songs onto one.
How old were you when you did this?
About 13.
I thought you were going to say 30. I just turned 30.
I was 5 actually, because I'm a genius.
Because I remember when the double tape recorders came out, so you could do tape to tape. Do you remember those? And I remember really wanting one for Christmas, and they were about 50 quid, and my family had no money, and I got one. Oh my God, the fun. Just recording things and recording it onto another. Oh God. And it was great because you could do mixtapes, and that's kind of missing. Playlists, sort of ish. But
it's all about the playlist now.
Yeah, but it's not. They're not romantic. Like I remember making like
kids don't think that.
Tape playlists.
Kids think they're great.
Yeah, I think they.
I think lots of kids and lots of students now that I talk to, they don't have like a couple of playlists. They have like tons of playlists with all different songs in. They'll have a morning playlist, an evening playlist, a sad playlist, happy playlist. They have all. Someone else had made a color playlist, so they had a red playlist or a blue playlist. Wow. Which I think is a really interesting concept, and it does give you the freedom to just create.
Yeah, I mean, what they've got that we didn't have is access to nearly everything that's been allowed on their particular.
Yeah, that's on there.
Yeah. So, which I just think there's just something about that level of choice. I'm getting better at streaming, but I find myself still like YouTube. I'm just old fashioned. I just sometimes sit at YouTube and go, I know there's really good things here, but right now I'm just sitting in front of YouTube going, I don't, and then I give up. Whereas Luke, he'd be there watching, wrestling and boxing and all sorts of things. Whereas I just, and like,
I must admit, I love YouTube, but I do use it quite a lot. Yeah, I mean, I'll use it for finding out how to do stuff quite a lot. So I've been trying to fix my bike, and I'll be like, how do I take the bottom bracket off? Right, YouTube. How do I fix this? Tap, I don't know. Find out on YouTube.
Yeah, I have to admit that I learned how to hang pictures on the wall properly from YouTube, and how to plaster.
Yes.
YouTube.
That's it, though. There's a guy. I think there was a video somewhere of a guy who built a whole house just using videos from YouTube.
Oh my God! Did it fall down?
It's probably yet to be seen.
Just a whole bunch of influencers.
Learn how to bricklay from YouTube. Everything. It's probably a YouTube advert, no doubt.
It is now. Oh my
It
God.
is now, yeah.
Amazing. But yeah, I mean,
Amazing.
I think essentially, I mean, my favorite format is vinyl, but obviously you can't take it with you.
No, it is lovely though. I think for me, vinyl is like the highest point for me. Music, it's not the best quality format. CD is. I still think CD is, but it is so nice, and it's big, and it's a thing to collect. And so when the albums that I love, I try and get on vinyl, and I slowly sort of build that collection. So I use all the formats. So. That is.
Tape.
I think buying the product at the end is lovely. So I was going to ask you, John, what you felt about cassettes this evening on air, because we haven't actually had this conversation. But I have been playing with the idea of maybe doing a release and doing it on cassette.
Oh my God!
I don't know I don't know whether you think this is like such a cliche, loser, geek, blooming
hipster
thing, or hipster. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Is this? Look, I even have one here because I've been doing research. Look.
Oh, great record, Synchronicity
by the Police on cassette here, and it's just so weird holding one. It's lovely.
Oh wow, it's old school.
Yeah, it's the real thing, 1983. Look at that. Can you see?
God. Yeah.
For those that are watching on YouTube,
they were a great band, Police.
So I've been playing around with some ideas, and I was thinking we could do it maybe 2-3 tracks, just a little sort of single EP or extended single kind of thing, and but we'll make them bespoke. So we'll just do like 50, but we'll make them. So we'll get secondhand tapes and record them ourselves, record the audio onto the cassettes.
Okay.
And I'll make the art.
Can't we get Ruben to do the artwork?
Ruben can help do the art.
He's our artist in residence.
And they'll just be a one-off, and we won't blank the tape that we get secondhand.
Oh, okay.
We'll record our music onto it and then stop it, and then whatever's there is there.
Wow.
And who knows what people will get? I think it's kind of arty.
I've actually, I mean, not that I'm donating these, but my dad had a lot of tapes. So like Dire Straits, Paul Simon, Van Morrison. So I won't get proper tapes like this. I'll get secondhand used cassette, blank tapes that have been recorded on. I think that'd be quite cool, because then everyone will be really unique. Yeah,
and you don't know what else will be on it. It'll be fascinating, and it'll be cheap. It'll be pennies. But I mean, most people don't even have a tape recorder, so it will be. Yes. It would be something to buy because you want to have the art. Art for art's sake.
Yeah, I don't have a tape player, I have to say.
No, nor do I.
How will we know if the audio is on the tape?
I'm just going to buy them on eBay and then sell them. I'm just going to colour them in.
Sell them.
I'm not going to put any music on them.
People who also don't have tape players. This is new clothes, isn't it?
Yeah, hopefully no one will play the tape because there'll be nothing on it.
Well, there'll be like Mini Bellini or whatever they were called, and
it'll be the top 20 of 1987.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing I do miss about tapes is that. Listening to bands like Pearl Jam and Red Hot Chili Peppers when I was growing up, there was a live bootleg market, and I was really involved in that in my secondary school. So we would get hold of bootlegs, distribute them,
copy them,
pass them around. Same with VHS though. I remember watching. Is it Woodstock? It was Woodstock, Red Hot Chili Peppers, where they were covered in mud. 9 Inch Nails played the same year. Wow. So good. And I had it on awful VHS, and it just was better.
Yeah, well, you see, so then CDs came along and destroyed all of that. Yeah. They got rid of all of that copying because you couldn't do it. And it it never really got great, did it, burning CDs? It was always a nightmare, really.
Yeah, that was kind of rubbish. Yeah,
it was a faff. And then you buy these little sticker machines. Do you remember the CD sticker machines? And then you had to print it out and then put the sticker on this plastic thing and then push the CD down. We did hundreds of those damn things to do demos.
Yeah. Absolutely. Sloppy did the same thing. In fact, we sold our first album on CDRs.
We did.
It was the only way, bringing in, and that's the difference. We'd sell 10. We were selling them for £10.
Wow. So yeah, that's a ton.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, man.
Yeah, amazing.
I'm not opposed to the tape idea, but I think in order for you to do it, you should at least we should get 2 tape, like old school Walkmans.
Right, yes.
Sony, oh my God.
Oh, see, now my brain has already kind of had this other idea. Well, I don't think we should. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think we should do this, but I did think you know how bands have like different tiered packages for their products.
Yeah.
So you can buy the t-shirt and the CD, and then you can buy a poster t-shirt and a CD in a package.
Yeah.
Well, then I thought, I know, if we're going to do a cassette release for an EP that we're going to make, and it's all bespoke, each one will be numbered, I think this is going to be really cool. I would love this. But then you can have the ultimate package would be to get the cassette and the tape recorder to go with it.
Oh my God.
And it'd be one of those little rectangular tape recorders, and we'll paint it to go with this, so it matches the artwork of the tape. So it's like a Ward and Parker tape recorder. That'd be amazing. Your face.
I mean, I do love the idea. I
don't know how to do it, but I think it'd be good.
What I love about
I'd do like a template and spray paint it or something.
What I love about this idea is the amount of man hours you will have to put in.
Yeah, I'll just let Ruben do it.
The tape player has to work though. Ruben can't pour the paint.
Yes, that's true. So I'd have to take the casing off, wouldn't I? So that I didn't destroy the electronics. I have to take it apart, then. Yeah, and then do the artwork on the case and then put it back together. It'd be like when you buy a games console that's like a special edition for a game, and it's got special artwork to match the game.
Totally lost me at games console, but I agree.
Yeah, but they do that. So you can buy a special edition Xbox that's got special artwork to match the game, or you could buy your special edition Ward and Parker tape recorder with your tape. And we would like to know what you think. Please leave us some comments on Facebook.
I'm going to start tonight.
That'd be great. When this goes out.
How far are we going to take it though? So that's tapes, but I mean, I love the Sony Discman. Remember the Sony Discman? Oh my God! I'm feeling itchy to look on eBay and see if I can get one. So we've got a CD that no one buys because people don't listen to CDs, but with this Ward and Parker Discman.
CD Discman.
Oh, yeah.
Does it have to be a Sony Discman specifically?
I think so, because there's the possibility.
That's what you want it to be.
That's what
that's fine.
To be. And then obviously when we get it released on vinyl, we're going to have to get in touch with.
You will get in touch with projects, and we'll be like, we want to make. We've done it with tapes. We've done it with Sony Discmans. Now we need to do a record player that is bespoke.
Do you know what this actually solves? That because sadly all music venues that we'd be playing will probably not exist when touring starts again, but hopefully hi-fi shops will. So we'll be able to play hi-fi shops because we'll also be selling our product in them.
So we can tour our project record player. That's such a brilliant idea. Yeah. See, I think we've cracked it.
Amazing.
And we can do a little talk because we're now podcasters.
And now with podcasters, what I've noticed, because I listen to Sam Harris, he's releasing. His podcast is amazing, but he's releasing kind of the best of podcasts, but in book form. So I mean that.
Wow!
Obviously,
how do you do that?
That's where we're going.
Well, they've written it all out.
Yeah. So he interviews Ricky Gervais, Stephen Fry, those sort of people, and it's all in this book. Yeah. So
can you imagine us doing that?
Yeah. I mean, if we edit out the crap, it's going to be one of those really short histories.
It's going to be empty.
It's going to be a picture.
Say hello and good night.
Yeah. No, but
I love that.
At some point, we will be. The idea is to interview people. At first it'd be people that we know, like Chris Fox and Dan Wilde and Ben Savage and members of the Willows and things like that. But then at some point, it'll be Beyonce and Boris Johnson, Boris.
No way.
Come on,
get them on. Let's have a chat.
So Boris, come on, you screwed it all up. Yeah.
And he'll just go, no.
He might then get the guitar out.
He probably would. No, have you seen that picture of him where the capo's on over in the wrong place? Anyway, let's not go
politicians should never ever touch music. Ever.
Let's move on. We'll start talking about Tony Blair and his guitar.
Yeah.
He played guitar, didn't
he also walked through a jazz band. So I played for Tony Blair in Salford, like a shopping centre in Salford. Big band, jazz, their double bass, full horn section. Wow. Tony Blair, I know my music. Walk right through the band, like literally through the band. I'm just looking at him going,
what are you doing?
You muppet. I'd have been much more like calmer if I realised that the guy would have probably have attacked my family if, I had said anything. So, I don't have any lawyers or any money, so sod off.
On that note, we should move on. We've done. I'm glad we've had our little chat about physical, and we really would like to know what people think, and if you would buy a cassette, because otherwise there's no point in really doing it. But I'd like to do it. I think it'd be interesting.
It feels more like an art project, but yeah,
it is an art project. I'd like to think of it as an art project, John.
Brilliant. I love it.
Wow. Love it. Let's talk. You wanted to talk. This is again. You wanted to bring the audience in and talk about naming your instrument.
Oh yeah. So on BBC Cambridge,
have you named your instrument?
I
John?
named my instrument. So all this had been tipped off by Sue and Nikki, basically that my instrument. I have quite a. It's a physical instrument, like. Yeah, it's physical. All I can say is she's got big hips. We dance because she's my dancing partner. Danny Thompson says the same thing. We're like, in order to get them to sing, all those sort of things. So she's got a name, and this one's called Nanny. My first bass was called Blue. Stephanie was the one that's actually been on records that have sold lots, which is not mine anymore.
She moved on to greener pastures.
I gave it to Bradley, who's an awesome person, double bass player. So mine's named, but it turned out that Cliff hasn't named his instrument, which is pretty bad. So I was just thinking it'd be really nice if you hear this podcast that you could get on our Facebook page and just recommend some names for Cliff's guitars, like maybe even a name for his banjo. I mean. I might be opening the floodgates.
I'm interested. Let's see what people come up with.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. But that's kind of what we want from this podcast. Rather than just, it will be just the two of us rabbiting for ages, but it would be nice to hear back from people, questions, things that they'd like us to cover, things they're interested in, those sort of things. I think that would be
absolutely
cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're going to have to make sure we kind of get this across in the notes and things, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
To help spread the word.
Yeah.
So what have you been listening to this week, John? You got any new music for us today?
New music, well, yeah, kind of. For me, Laura Marling's new record, Song for Our Daughter. My good friend Jake Morley said, you should listen to this record. And he doesn't ever really recommend records. So I was like, okay. And I put it on and I just love it. I just think it's beautifully recorded. It's Ethan Johns and, it's stunning. The songs are it's a really mature record. It's my favourite of hers. And I'm starting to go back. When you hear a record that you love, you start going back and checking them out.
Absolutely.
So I'm becoming a bit of a fan.
Oh, man, she's amazing. Well, we saw her at Cambridge Folk Festival. And she's just incredible, really spellbinding, really. She's, fascinating.
So that would be my must listen to. But then this week, Brad Meldu, who's a jazz pianist, has just released music he's written during lockdown. So obviously as a jazzer, you would be out gigging. He's written something called Sweet April 2020. And it's really out there at points. Like he's looking at social distancing, but also musical social distancing on the piano. So it's
Wow.
it's cool. And his
Will I like it?
I don't think so. I think you'd really.
Thanks for your honesty.
I think
you're right.
I think you'd really like his trio, Brad Maldu's trio. It's amazing. And Brad did play. I went to see him and Chris. Is it Chris Thiel, the mandolin player? At the festival hall, and I went with my good friend Ian, and we sat there. And we're just very excited. And then Brad just sat at the piano and played this chord. And it was like you could feel the wave across. I don't know what chord it was, but it was unreal. It was just so beautiful. It sounded so stunning that everybody took a gap. Like it was. He is an amazing musician. It's some of the best jazz gigs I've been to. Other records. Nora Jones has got a new record out called "Pick Me Up Off the Floor," which is really good.
Interesting.
Because Cliff has been reading Tori Amos, I was like, oh, I haven't listened to that album for ages. So I listened to, I think it's called Boys for Pele. And that's a great record. There's some funny songs on that record. She's just so creative. I think she's great. So that's what I've been listening to. And then I was listening to Billie Holiday as we went on air, as Cliff might call it.
Oh, you were, yes.
Yes. And you were mentioning there's like some really good Netflix.
Yeah, I managed to watch a couple of bits on Netflix. There's a really great documentary on Nina Simone on there. So if you've got that, go check it out. She's fascinating. And I also watched the Rolling Stones documentary on their tour of South America and Cuba. Wow. Absolutely stunning and beautifully filmed. If you've got HD, it's absolutely stunning. Those guys are just awesome. Cool. I mean, I've never been a massive Rolling Stones fan. I didn't even know half the songs, but I really enjoyed the documentary, and they're just great guys and fascinating to watch. And they're so full of life, even though they're getting on.
I'm pretty sure they're vampires, to be honest.
I know. Yeah, it is unbelievable. You kind of watch them going, how are they doing this? They're just so solid, and they've clearly got an amazing team, and they work so well together. They've got it down to their perfection for them, and it just works. Yeah.
We were talking.
I love that.
We were talking about their bass player, Anthony Jackson. He's such a good bass player.
He's awesome. Isn't he?
He's really good. He's a really good upright bass player as well. Just brilliant. It made me think musical films. There's an Ella Fitzgerald documentary, I think, on BBC iPlayer, which I've not watched yet, but I love Ella Fitzgerald. But the Beastie Boys have got a film out on Apple TV, and
it's a series, isn't it?
Is it?
It's a series, and I think I've watched an episode. I watched a bit of one.
Any good?
No, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't watch all of it. I watched a bit, and it's like they're doing like a stage show, where they get together and they go through their history.
Okay,
but it's really, really, it's written, I think.
Oh no!
And it didn't for me. It felt really unnatural and awkward. But don't be put off. Go and check it out yourself.
I would definitely check it out. I mean, check your head.
It felt very contrived.
I mean, their records. I mean, if you love vinyl, their records are amazing on vinyl.
Yeah, you'd watch all the footage of them being completely crazy, and then this didn't quite make sense to me. It was strange. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. But it might have been the first episode, and they probably ease into it more as it goes on. It probably gets really good, I'm sure.
Well, we should check it out and then rip it to pieces if it's rubbish.
Sometimes I should try harder. I think it was, should always do a gig twice. I should go back and try it again.
What, immediately after finish? Just walk back?
No. You should always go back. You don't have one really terrible gig somewhere.
Yes.
And it could be for whatever reason, but sometimes you'll just sort of write it off and go, I shouldn't do that again. But you should always go back and do it again, because the second time it could be absolutely great. Don't judge it on its first appearance.
I can think of a few gigs that we've done that if you suggested we did them again, I think I'd hang up on you. I'm not going to mention what they are.
Let's go back here.
No,
I'm really busy now.
Yeah, I know. Wax people's legs. I haven't got time for this.
I sold my bass.
yeah, for wax.
Oh dear, that's awful.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to. I'm going to listen to lots of Rolling Stones, actually, I think, and I've got another artist here that I don't think you've heard of called Koala, Kawala, and they're a band, and they're really good. Cool. I've been enjoying their record. I think there's quite a few of them, and they've got a record. Yeah, it's called Koala, the single. And yeah, they're fascinating. I can't really say anymore. Just go check him out.
I will. That's what we need. We need recommendations, really. There's nothing, you can't beat recommendations. Cliff did like a book post on Facebook, and it was just like, just so many interesting, it's like, you know, these people, and then they put up a book they're reading, and you look it up and you go, oh my God, that's what a book. Yeah,
I must admit, the book that I ended up getting, the Dom Greenwood book, is absolutely brilliant. And I don't think I've ever read a book by an artist just talking about his process. And it's changing my mind, because I guess I think like that when I'm writing and trying to create music and thinking about albums and our covers and yada yada, but this guy takes it to another level, and it's great for my mind. I'm loving it, and it's there's no purpose to it. It's just him following his brain and going on a journey to get to an outcome. But I love that. It's great. I want more books like that, please.
Okay.
Because
the public will
blow my mind.
Yeah,
I'm sure it will.
Yeah.
Okay. We're getting to the end here. Getting close.
Yeah.
What else have you got? Have you got anything else for us, John?
The only thing I was thinking was that lockdown. During lockdown, people have approached it very differently, but a lot of people have discovered different things. I've been listening to a lot of people just say, I run every day. And they would never have run normally, but because exercise was so restricted, it felt like it changed the motivation. It stopped being this thing that was like, oh God, I've got to run. It's like, no, I'm allowed one run. I'm allowed outside once. I'm going for it.
That is true, actually. Psychologically, it was a complete role reversal of exercise, and most people going, oh.
Absolutely.
It was like, you're allowed to exercise. Oh my God.
But only once. And always the threat that might be taken away. Because I remember when people were misusing, before the Dominic Cummings fiasco, the people started to sort of bend the rules slightly. And there was the threat that they were going to pull the exercise.
Yeah.
And I remember messaging my friend Juliet, just going, honestly, I'm going to break the law. Like, there's no way that I'm not running. At that point, I was running 50 plus miles a week, whereas now, I'm not.
You've had a break.
I have had a break on a breakdown, that's okay. And I'm coming back.
You're allowed to have a break, John.
True. So yeah, I don't know. Interesting. So for me, I was just interested to hear what people had taken up. Like what had they discovered? Not necessarily taken up, but just what had they discovered about themselves, their family, or books they've read, music they listen to, those sort of things. Maybe they've changed their career. Maybe they've started a course, I don't know.
Started a podcast.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think I like that. I like this idea. This is great. Yeah. People should share this. This is good. I think for me, there's been a lot of times where I would have had to get help from my dad, mostly say, Dad, how do I do this? I can't do this. I need help doing that. And I've actually done all of the things pretty much by myself, which is amazing for me.
Have you been investing yourself again?
I've dismantled a shed and rebuilt it somewhere else, and then I've built like a lean-to. I've built a stables in my garden for my bikes. I've taken a bike to pieces and rebuilt it and bought all the bits, and I rode it on a bike ride today which I never would have done. I would have had to have loads of help. I've had a bit of help, that's true. But yeah, I've quite enjoyed actually having the sort of headspace to kind of almost tinkering with something, a project, and not feeling like I've only got 10 minutes or there's no time and I've got to get back to work and everything's a rush.
Or that you're tired from gigs. That's the big one for me, is that I find, I mean, I get up at 6 every morning because I'm my mum, and I'm in bed usually around 10 in order so that I can function at 6. But it's just, what's crazy is I was doing that when we were gigging, and we play Brighton and getting at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and 2 hours later I'd be up. Whereas now I can't contemplate, that living my life in that fog of just
driving everywhere all the time. How much that tests your body and mind is unbelievable. I don't really want to go back to that.
No, I don't know. And interesting, I shared a Guardian article, and it wasn't really about showing people, but it was just the sudden, like, the shops opened on Monday and then people were just like, let's go shopping, we've got to go shopping. And I was just thinking, I don't understand it. I really don't. It's just,
everyone's been going, everything's going to change. We're all going to change our outlook, and everything's going to go straight back to normal. The roads will be completely jammed in 5 minutes as everyone goes back to work and wants McDonald's, and that the amount of litter from McDonald's is unbelievable. Like, I don't mind people getting a burger, but why does a fast food takeaway suddenly mean there is rubbish all over the countryside? It's unbelievable.
Absolutely, yes.
And people, really, come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's very strange. I really feel like something has changed for me and quite a few other people I know, where, like, I mean, I liked shopping. Like, I liked buying clothes. I liked hanging out in town and grabbing a coffee. There isn't a part of me that feels like that section of my life is over. I mean, it sounds dramatic, but it just feels...
You're just not ready.
Just feels...
You're not ready yet.
But I think I just realised I don't miss it. I don't need it. It puts you in debt. Like... I like to practice. I'm studying. I've got... I'd rather...
I've talked to a lot of people who have said they've saved a ton of money. Not going out every weekend and... but sadly that means a lot of small businesses are going to suffer, and town centres are going to suffer if that was going to be the case. But I mean, go to more interesting shops, or look online for more interesting shops, and not Primani, and not all these massive places.
That's what's so crazy. In a time where we're sort of talking about, obviously historic injustices and the slave trade and all those sort of things, you've got to...
And ignoring what is actually happening now.
Modern slave trade. Like
endless.
Kids making clothes. And I just don't believe... I won't believe big clothing companies that are producing rubbish are not exploiting children. I just won't believe it. So come on, sue me. You can have my pencil.
Oh goodness. Well, I think we've come to the end. I would like to finish. Were you going to do some questions? Have you got any questions tonight, or have we bypassed that?
We sort of bypassed it.
We haven't got any tonight.
No.
Well, that's okay. We need some more questions for that. Maybe these conversations will lead to plenty of questions. That'd be nice.
Yeah, lawyers.
But I suppose we should round up by saying thank you to everyone who's downloaded it, because we've had over 100 downloads, which I just can't believe. I'm blown away. I said to John after the first one, well, if we get 20, that'll be really great. So, wow, thanks very much.
It's brilliant. It
is brilliant. Long may... so please, if you've enjoyed it, please tell your friends, tell other people, and get them to join us, because the more the merrier.
Yeah, and we enjoy it. And to be completely honest, if no one listens to it, probably going to do it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to do it anyway. Absolutely. Why not? So hopefully everyone's enjoying it, because obviously we are probably too much.
Like most things.
Anyway, right. We shall sign off. So see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye.
I can feel the energy. It's growing up just like it ought to be. Don't waste your time on these things you find. This thing is real and it feels so right. I can feel the energy. It's growing up just like it ought to be. Don't waste your time on these things you find. This thing is real and it feels so right.